Hey guys, it's Wednesday and it's 1 o'clock. So I'm going to be answering this week's questions. There were 6 of them. They were really good questions. And so I'm just going to hop on them and yeah, so waste any time. So the very first question, which is a great question, it was, do you have any tips for shooting in harsh light during wedding days? Okay, so I have a few different things to say about this question. Yes, there are some tips for shooting in harsh lighting, but before I go over that, I want to remind you that on wedding days, you are the professional. They hired you as the photographer to be the professional in the room. So don't think that you can't move your bride or your family or your couple to a location that does not have harsh light. So I think that's what I really wanted to say first, is that if you have a crappy light situation, whether that's like, you know, in like the getting ready room or whatever, take your bride to an outside on the porch where the light is softer. Or if you are doing the bridal party and like the location where your bride wants to shoot has really bad light, say, hey, I would love to shoot here, but at this time the light sucks. So I'm going to make sure that you look the best in your images. So we're going to move to this location where they're soft and even and pretty light. So that way you don't have like really bad dark circles under your eyes and you don't see like all the imperfections like on your face and stuff. So yeah, I really don't want to shoot in this spot because it has really bad light. Now I don't want you to look bad. I'm going to put over here in this good light. So I wanted to just say that first, like make sure that like you are in control and that you be the professional on a wedding day, and you, because like if you're not a photographer, you don't understand light and you don't care about it. Like it's not on your brain all the time like it is for you. So just be the professional in the room wedding day and just say, hey, we're going to shoot here instead of here because the lighting's better. And they're going to be like, oh yeah, that's fine. That's cool. And if they're like, well, I really want to shoot here, just be like, we can, but you might have really dark circles under your eyes, but that's fine. Whatever you want to do. And nobody wants to look bad. Nobody wants dark circles under their eyes. So that's kind of like my go-to if the lighting is bad. They don't know the difference, honestly. So just try to move locations if you can. If you cannot move locations, like if it's during the ceremony or, you know, for whatever reason, always try to locate the sun. If you're able to move them and it's just you have no other spot, locate the sun and make sure that the sun is behind your client to the left or behind your client to the right. I don't know if that was the right way, but you get what I'm saying. In harsh lighting situations, so if you're not shooting during golden hour, my trick for sunlight is to make sure the sun is behind the client to the left. So you don't want the sun directly behind the client because it's going to cause haze in your lens. So if you can move your feet or your client to where the sun is behind them to the left or the right, that's like my biggest tip for shooting in the sun. And then so like if you're shooting a ceremony and you literally cannot control it, I always, if it's like during noon or daylight, like where it's just harsh sun everywhere, if you underexpose your image by like 1 or 2 notches, it's going to make your editing easier and you can brighten it to look like your light and airy style if that's your style. That's my trick for myself. So if I'm shooting like a ceremony or something in harsh direct sunlight, I'll underexpose just a little bit and then it'll make my editing look cohesive to the rest of the day instead of like that harsh highlights during the light. And then another tip, if you're shooting in harsh sunlight during a ceremony, just keep moving your feet and find the good angles. and this is just for any ceremony, but I always say it's just to keep moving your feet and give them a variety of images, but also during harsh sunlight time, you'll notice like moving to the left, okay, now the sun is here instead of like squinting in their face. So like you can kind of like, and those could be like your blog images, if that makes sense. So if the sun is like in their face and she's seeing the whole this, then maybe shoot behind the bride and get the groom's reaction. So you don't get those harsh things. You can't control the ceremony. Like the ceremony is a ceremony and it is what it is, but you can move your feet and then get different angles for that. So that is my tips for that. I think that was it. Yes. Okay. So second question. And like, if you have questions while I'm talking, just pop them in here. Oh, here's some questions. Do you use a lens hood? And if so, do you leave it on the entire time, even in shade? Okay, so yes, let me show you what I do. Okay, so I had this question for the workshop, so this is great. I can show you. Okay, so this is a lens hood, and what it does is it's like a baseball cap for your lens. Okay, think about like when you wear a baseball cap and it does like this, it like shades your eyes from the sun and you're not squinting the whole time. It does the same thing for your lens, and it looks like this. It's called a lens hood, and it actually can sit on your camera like this. I mean your lens, and it can hang out on your lens until you need to pop it on. So if I'm in a harsh lighting situation, I will pop on the baseball cap for my lens to protect it from lens flare, to protect, you know, the hazy sun getting into my lens. And then when I don't need it, I just pop it on backwards and it hangs out. So all of my lenses, let's see, all of my lens hoods just like hang out on my lens, and it snaps on and it just stays there. So that's just like what I do. Some people don't use lens hoods. I think they're pretty nifty if you're in a crappy lighting situation. So, okay, so that's what this is for, and I put it back on here. And it just literally clicks back on like that. So, but yes, I do use those when I need them in like harsh lighting situations. Okay, so the next question was, are you going to offer a group flash photo session? Right now I'm not, but I haven't started this yet, but I am going to make an online a simplified flash course, because it's just non-existent, and flash is not as scary as you think it is. And so I'm going to teach it in an online course version to just simplify it down, like how to use one flash on top of your camera and still get those light-and-airy images. And then adding a off-camera flash. And it's going to be like a simplified flash course so that you can create those awesome reception images and then like ceremony images if you have to pop a flash on. So I am offering an online course for that, because I do know flash is scary, but it doesn't have to be. But until then, if you want to do a one-on-one mentoring session with me, I can teach you my flash system and how I do it and how simple it is. So yeah, you can just email me and we can set you up with a one-on-one session until the online course comes out. So Haley Hunt came, was it yesterday? It was yesterday. And I taught her how to do flash with natural light, like inside, if she ever has to pop a flash on for an indoor, but with natural light location. And then we turned Bonnie's nursery into like a reception hall with just like 2 tungsten lights. And so I would do her settings and what to do with her flash. And so I taught her that yesterday. So now she's ready to go with any kind of lighting situation she's given. So, and that was just with her on-camera flash. So it was very simple. And yeah. Hi, Haley, I'm talking about you. Okay. So next question. is, okay, so for family sessions with kids, what shutter speed do you use and what aperture do you use? Okay, so with kids, I always try to make sure that my shutter speed is over 500, 1/500th of a second. That's kind of like the rule that I set for myself. And then for aperture, if I am shooting one kid by himself, I do my like 1-to-1 rule. So one person or one kid, I usually have my aperture around 1.8, 1.4. Two kids, I usually have my aperture at 2.0 or 2.8. So I usually match the number of people with my aperture. That's just the rule that I have for myself. It's simple, it's easy, and it's something that I don't have to really think about. So I usually try to keep my shutter speed at least 1/500th of a second or faster. And then I will do like the 1-to-1 rule, like one person to f1.8, two people to f2.8, four people f4.0. So I hope that helps. And then next question. Oh, somebody asked about back button focus. Because I shoot Nikon, I don't have to do back button focus. So I think Angela commented she knows more about back button focus than I do because she's Canon. And there are some like Canon photographers like on YouTube that talk about back button focus. But I don't, I just do like the half shutter focus. Sorry. But yeah, I've heard Canon people swear by it. So yeah, I think that's like a simple free resource on YouTube that you could easily just like look up. And I'm sure if anybody in the group knows how to back button focus like Angela, like they can kind of help you with that too. So just put it out there and I'm sure you're going to find some help. Okay. So, oh, this is a good question. Do you use a reflector? If so, how? Okay. I do use a reflector, and there are a couple different reasons to use one. Let me just first tell you like what a reflector does. So, okay, got it out. This is a reflector. It's just a big white thing that I can like fold up, but anything that is white can reflect light. So, what it does is light is constantly traveling, constantly. It's going in one direction. So right now I have a window here. So the light is coming this way. So do you notice like my face is lighter here than it is here? Okay. So what a reflector does is it bounces light backwards from the direction it's coming from. So if I put the reflector here, watch the shadow on my face. I think I've done this demonstration in another video, but you notice like that shadow fills up because the light is coming this way, stopping and reflecting back to wherever the reflector is pointing. So obviously it's going to bounce here and reflect back here. So watch the shadow fill up whenever I remove it. Do you see that? Like magic. Okay, so I use a reflector for different reasons. The first thing, like on a wedding day, you see me post pictures, the bridal details. I always find a window, I camp out there, and then I have Thomas hold the reflector here, and it just creates that more light and airy style because it fills in the shadows. Another reason why I would use a reflector is to bounce light up. So if the sun is coming down this way, I will hold my camera. Let me get a camera. Okay. So I will hold my camera. I'll hold my camera like this and then hold my reflector like this. Can you see that? So what that does is the sun is coming down, it's going to bounce off of this reflector and back into like my client's face, and it'll fill the under eye shadows, the shadows under their neck. It'll just create more light into their face, and there won't be any harsh shadows anywhere. So that's another reason why to use a reflector. And I do this for senior sessions, sometimes for bridal sessions, and not much during a wedding day, unless I just need it. So that's just the two ways that I definitely use them, to do like inside, like next to a window, or underneath my camera to bounce the sunlight back into their face. So the last question of the day is what educational resources do you like besides Amy and Jordan and Caitlin James? Okay, so I love them, but I definitely learned from a bunch of different people my first year, or tried to, other than Google and YouTube. So, but these are photographers who are educators that you have to pay for. Like, if you're going to learn from education, you're gonna have to pay for it. It's not free resources, but it is something that like that will help you. I learned a ton from creativelive.com. And everything that I had to purchase, but you can find a newborn photography course there. You can find a senior photography course there. You can find a boudoir photography course there. So they have a bunch of different types of photography. And there's a Lightroom class, there's a Photoshop class, there's just all kind of stuff that was very helpful when I first started. And then another mentor that I used my first year was Mary Morantz, and she is like a flash guru. It is a little bit complicated, the way that she just does a lot with flash, but it's good stuff. So I loved Mary Morantz. And then I'm also offering a one more photography, definitely in-person workshop, photography 101, and that's just with natural light and how to use manual mode. We just had one on Saturday. There's another one. I have one spot left, and that is June 22nd. And that is teaching you manual mode and lighting, and obviously we practice together with that too. So I'm also turning this into an online course, as y'all have seen before. It's a lot of work, so be patient, it's coming. And then later on this year, I'm going to be launching my simplified flash photography course, and then also the wedding day workshop that's coming in the summer. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening just in this group alone. So just stay tuned and stick with us, and yeah, keep watching these videos, watching the lives, and you can get a lot of free stuff in the meantime. So I think that was all of our questions today, and I'll have this in the group for the replay. Yeah, and I will be posting the next question block post tomorrow, and then I'll be answering those live next week with all my kids home for Easter break, so that'll be really fun. Yeah, and that's all for today. 18 minutes, not bad. So, all right, guys, I will talk to you soon. Also, if you have my signature preset and you want to send me like a before and after picture, I would love to see more of those, because y'all are rocking it. Y'all are doing awesome. So, okay, guys, talk to you later.